I want to ask you a question. What do you think is the probability of someone who has never, someone who's not a lawyer, just a normal regular guy, to win a case against seasoned lawyers, government prosecutors, in front of the judges? Because let me shock you when I tell you that there's an incident that happened in Kenya where a man by the name Brian Mwenda, who was just a man, just a normal guy, walked into the court system, into the legal court system, and won 26 cases. 26, not one, not two, 26 cases. Now, I know some could be asking, how? And that's what we want to talk about today. Who is this guy? And how did he manage to pull this off? And was he even caught? If he was caught, then what happened thereafter? Because this can be something interesting. Imagine someone who is not a licensed lawyer or advocate, masquerading as one, then walks into the court system and then practice law for a given period of time without being caught, and not only winning but won all of them. This story is about one guy from Kenya by the name Brian Mwenda, who shocked not only the legal system, but I can say the country as a whole. Now, I want us to know, who is this guy? Who is this Brian Mwenda? Because the story is wild, and this is not a movie plot. This is not a movie plot. This is a reality. So who is this guy? So Brian Mwenda is not your maybe typical. I don't call him a scammer. He's not. I don't know how to call it that way. But he's a very sharp and confident and charismatic guy. If you look at his photos, you can see the way he dresses, his suits, and his English, and his presentation, and his, not ego, but the way he presents himself. Honestly, even if you are the judge, you won't really doubt the credibility or what I may call, let's say, the credentials of this guy. How he presented these cases, and how it calculated, and maybe his reasoning. He won all of them, bro. Now, this guy, Brian Mwenda, he studied at Madaraka Primary School, and then he went to study criminology at Chuka University. But then he didn't get a license to practice law. So meaning, from that point, we already know that he had some background in the criminal system. But then he didn't get the license to practice law. Now, this guy portrayed himself as a qualified attorney for a considerable amount of time, and according to some reports, none of the judges actually doubted his credibility and his abilities, because he did his job well. Even though he had no official qualification, but somehow, he managed to get into the court system, and not really to infiltrate, but to get access to practice law. So he just pretended to be a lawyer, advocate, and then he built his reputation from winning the cases. This guy was someone who was very good in doing research and reading and online, according to some sources. Nowadays you can easily learn about any particular project or any particular subject that you want online from YouTube videos, from friends. You can just go to the library, public libraries, get books and read. That's how he got his vast knowledge and experience, and maybe experience on this journey. Now, something interesting, because you can't just start, even if just a normal guy, it's not easy to just pull this off. So it's good to understand. Maybe we try to see, how did this guy pull this thing over? How did Brian, who was just a normal guy, manage to get into the legal system and practice law, and even to win all of them? How did you even get access to the LSK portal? Because like you and me, you can't just go and start representing cases in the High Court. No, you cannot. So to start knowing how this guy pulled this thing off, as I told you earlier, this guy was Brian Wendler was good in research and in persuasion and in storytelling and in public speaking. I mean, he studied law from books, friends, and he also did criminology at Duke University. So at some point, at some point, Brian Wendler got into the system of or to the portal of LSK, or the Law Society of Kenya, and then he identified account by similar name as his. He was Brian Wendler, and then this other guy was called Brian Wendler someone. He was also Brian Wendler. So this guy is, in fact, he was called Brian Wendler Twiga. Yeah, Brian Wendler Twiga. So what he did, according to some sources, is like he tampered with the details of this other guy, get into the system as masquerading as Brian Wendler, let me say the original one, and then got into his portal, changed the profile picture, changed now the email address, and now started to practice law as as if he's the one who was credible to practice law. Now, at some point, Brian Wendler, now the original Brian Wendler, the Brian Wendler Twiga, wanted to access his portal. I think wanted to apply for some licenses. And then when he tried to do it, he could not access the portal. Why? Because, I remember when I told you that he had changed the details. He had changed the email address, the photos, and the credentials. And not the credentials, but the logins. So this guy could not access the portal. That's the time that he raised the alarm to the LSK. And then investigation was launched, and they identified that someone has been using his identity to practice law. Now the IT department, I think on September 28th, realized that someone was using the identity of this other guy, Brian Wendler Twiga. And that's when they now started to do investigation. And then they realized that someone who probably they have met in the law corridors has been using the identity of this other guy. Now, I don't know if that one qualifies one to be called criminal identity fraud, because he was arrested, yes, and was charged in the court of law. They realized that his paperwork and everything was not his. Not paperwork, but paperwork and all this were not his. So it brought a lot of public outrage. But people called him the Kenya's Mike Cross. That is a popular actor from The Sweets. Now, this man was arrested. And guess what? He also won the case again. He also won against LSK. And right now he's a free guy. I don't know if he's still practicing law. But this one brought a lot of public reaction, because some people are now starting to question the credibility of LSK, the portal, and all these things. Some people just loved him, because how do you try to explain someone that a fake lawyer or a fake advocate has won 26 cases? The story was fascinating as wild it was. And this guy has just become, he was loved by the people, and I don't know if he'll still be allowed to practice law. Now he will now decide now to go and study law eventually, and now become a certified man. No one knows. For now, he's a free man, and let's see how his next move. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.